There was definitely a lot of mystery surrounding it for us in terms of like how to approach the session. The Panini beat was the second beat that we played.
But for the first like hour and a half of the session, we didn't make any music or even talk about music. We were just talking about life and the fact that he was 19, about to turn 20, and we're like 26, like a little bit older than him, but we had like different references and watched different cartoons. And he's like, "Oh, you never seen Chowder?" We're like, "What's Chowder?" He's like, "You know, Panini."
Hello again, Chowder. Hello, Panini.
And then he's like, "Huh, Panini," and we're like, "All right," like this kid's weird.
Hey Panini, don't you be a meanie. Thought you wanted me to go, why you tryna keep me teeny? It's a dreamy, wished it on a genie. I got fans finally, ain't you wanting them to see me? I thought you want this for my life, for my life.
Our lawyer, David Jacobs, who became Nas's lawyer, and this is before Old Town Road really started going. He's like, "Oh, there's this new kid, Lil Nas X. He has this like country rap song about horses. Do you want to work with him?" We're like, yeah, why not? So he connected us on text.
And then finally, James, our A&R, was like, "Hey, like, you guys are in LA like the same time that Lil Nas X is coming to LA. You want to like do his first session ever?" It was April 7th that we hopped in with him.
He had just left Atlanta for the first time like a few days before, so he was just like new to everything.
Didn't even want In-N-Out, he just wanted Chick-fil-A.
The first thing that we played him was actually the intro guitar to Rodeo. But then he was like, "Let me see what else you have. Like, that's cool, put it aside." We played him a few more, and then he was like, "So what's like the weirdest thing you have?" So then we immediately thought of the stuff we did with Dot.
So I linked up with Take a Daytrip, Denz and David, late 2018. It's just been natural vibes, cookups. You know, whenever they're in LA or whenever I'm in New York, David would jump on the keys and Denz would jump on the bass, and I'm programming drums on a laptop. It was probably a real natural way of creating.
Instantly, he was like, "All right, move this part here. Like, this intro has to be shorter." Like, but he literally wrote the entire song in his head. And then the first time he stepped in the booth, he just did the opening verse like, "Hey, Panini."
Don't you be a meanie. Thought you wanted me to go, why you tryna keep me teeny?
Like after he finished recording, me and Dave were just like,
yeah, we're like, "Oh shit." Knew that we wanted to make some stuff, didn't really have any direction or anything like that. We're just like, let's kind of just vibe out and, you know, see where things go. Yeah, so the first instrument on this was on the Prophet 8, which is the made lean line.
so that's kind of like the vibe of everything besides the more rap drums. Is kind of like an 80s retro nostalgic vibe, which we kind of like default to a lot. To push that aesthetic further a little bit, just put a little slap delay on it. This is without it. So kind of is almost acting as a reverb, but it's a little tighter. And then you already know this one on everything.
I mean, obviously we have all these analog keyboards. We definitely like a vintage sound to everything that we're doing. And the retro color just, you know, helps add a lot of that tone.
So next one is the Nord.
And just taking literally just a single note and just having it land on pretty much every beat. So the next sound we did on the Arturia Matrix, which at first when we first got it, like we did not fuck with it at all. Like we literally called the keyboard the shit house.
It's labeled here still as the shit house.
Over time we found some places to use it. Last sound in this series of keyboards that we have over here is actually the same sound that we use in Mo Bamba, just affected a little bit differently. I played it a little bit higher, and then we half-timed it to give it kind of a lower effect.
We're kind of just throwing every idea that we can think of into Logic and just bouncing around every keyboard.
Like one of the things that's so great about working together is that when we create, like we try to eliminate egos completely. So if I'm putting something down, like we both know it could be something that could be replaced.
So this next one is the Sub Fatty, but instead of using it as a bass, we used it as a lead. So in context, So that's kind of where the Nirvana interpolation comes in.
Just say to me what you want from me.
Just seeing Kurt Cobain on the credits along with us, because Justice is one of our biggest inspirations. Nirvana was also one of our biggest inspirations, and something that brought us like so close together, and just, you know, when we were first getting to know each other and first trying to create together.
All right, so the next thing was the bass guitar. For the chorus, literally the same patch as Mo Bamba, say sub bass that we put under that bass guitar just to give it a little bit more bottom. With the other bass. Live bass is a little bit more audible, like listening out of a phone or out of a computer. And the sub bass is like, you know, if you're in the car, you're playing it in a club or something, that's like the bottom of that. So when we're working with Dot, for the most part, he has his own rig and his set of sounds, and he'll just feed it into our computer almost as like a separate synth. So this is some of the drums that he put down. Yeah, so Dot's like the king of like breakbeats, and half the time he's doing it through an iPad too, which is even crazier. So yeah, he played in this hi-hat and we just kind of chopped it up to make it feel a little bit faster. Then after that, started laying some more drums on top of his. First a clap. Next one was a snare.
The layering of how we did the clap and the snare there for the first half of the verse is standing on the clap, so it's not hitting as hard. So that when the second half of the verse comes in, the snare is making a little bit more of an impact.
The next thing is the 808.
A lot of the times we follow our kicks based on where the 808 lands, just to give it a little extra knock.
So the last bass that we put in, it's actually really similar to the Mo Bamba bass. After we did the verse and then he cut the chorus.
Just say to me what you want from me.
At that point, if the artist is comfortable and we're comfortable, we'll start suggesting things. So for the chorus, we suggested to do an octave up, just, you know, kind of spatial reasons.
Say to me what you want from me. Just say to me what you want from me.
And at first, he's definitely not used to singing in that register. So he was like, you sure? You sure? Where it's like, it'll sound fire. So when he did it and then heard it back, then he was like, all right, like, maybe you guys know what you're doing. So then from that point, then, you know, the trust between us got even stronger. I think that's one of the biggest things as a producer is trusting the artist and having the artist trust you.
That's when we were able to do more things, like the whistle, for instance, was something that, like, he was just whistling in the booth. I remember me, Denz, and then everyone else that was in the room as well were like, actually, like, that didn't sound that bad.
So I think Nas chose this one because he was just coming off of Old Town Road and didn't want to be known as, you know, a kid from Atlanta that sings country songs.
The reason for us picking it was just kind of just throw a little curveball and a little challenge out there to see like what we could, you know, come up with. And the end product was Panini. The way that we created this one, like, really did feel like we were in a band.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this is one of my favorite beats we've ever made.
Yeah.
Hey Panini, don't you be a meanie. Thought you wanted me to go, why you tryna keep me teeny?
So he recorded the verse and the beginning part of the chorus, and then he was like, all right, play it back. And I had done like a rough mix on it because I was recording on my laptop, and he just takes out his phone and it's like holding it up, and then I got a notification like Lil Nas posted a video, and it's like he like basically leaked this song before we even finished it. But then people instantly hit us up like, oh my god, congrats, like this song sounds crazy, blah, 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 within minutes. And then we just sat there just watching the numbers go up. And
yeah, so that song pretty much went viral before we even finished the second verse. obviously we've been in New York for 9 years, but you know, being like two kids from like pretty small like farm towns, it's definitely pretty amazing to see. And definitely just the love and feedback just from like our own, you know, kids and people that we grew up with, to like really have them reach back out and like support, like that feeling is incredible.
For my life, said you wanted to see me thrive, you lied. Now when it's all done, I get the upper hand, and I need a big fist, not another fan, but I still want you as a fan. I'ma need a sit down with me to make demands, but I need you to say to me what you want from me.
Yeah, so I mean, the day that we linked up with Nas, we're having a meeting with our PR. Literally, we're eating beef pasta, and then Big Nas was in a booth like next to us.
OG Nas, like the whole time we were eating, we're like, oh my God, has it been Nas this entire time?
Right after that, went to the session with Lil Nas X, and then the Panini beat. So we name all our beats after food. We just call it the Daytrip recipes, and it's just easier for us to remember. And like that beat happened to be called beef pasta. So we're eating beef pasta in John and Vinny's with OG Nas next to us. Go to the studio with Lil Nas X, and then he picks a beat called beef pasta, and then Panini.
Yeah.